The wind howled across the empty winter plains like a wounded animal, carrying with it the sting of ice and the echo of prayers that never reached heaven. And somewhere down that lonely, snow-covered road walked a cowboy, whose name no one really knew, a man carved out of silence and sorrow, a wanderer who had long forgotten what it felt like to belong to anything but the cold. His horse moved slow beneath him, hooves crunching through frozen crust, breath steaming like smoke from a weary furnace, and just as the blood-red sun dipped behind the distant ridge, he saw them. First, a small figure standing in the road barefoot, her feet blue with frostbite, trembling not from fear but from sheer exhaustion, her dress nothing but tattered cloth hanging from a starved frame, her hair tangled and stiff with snow, her wide eyes staring straight at him like she had been waiting for him all her life. And then he saw the woman slumped against a massive boulder on the side of the road, half buried in snow, her head resting weakly against the stone as though she had meant to lie down for only a moment but found sleep too heavy to wake from. And between him and them stretched, not distance but memory, of every lost soul he'd ridden past and left to die, every time he chose to mind his own business rather than carry the weight of someone else's suffering, every ghost that followed him because he didn't stop when he should have. And as he slowed his horse to a halt, the little girl didn't step back, didn't plead, didn't tremble. She just looked up at him with the kind of calm that broke harder than tears, and in a voice so small yet so steady it could cut straight through bone, she whispered, "Can you take her instead of me?" And for a moment the world stopped breathing. The cowboy's fingers tightened on the reins, his jaw clenched beneath his scarf, because she didn't ask for herself, she asked for the woman dying in the snow, and something in that simple sacrifice struck him like a bullet through the heart, reminding him of another girl long ago, one with sunlit hair and a laugh like church bells, one he couldn't save no matter how hard he prayed. The little girl took a step back as if offering herself up to fate, not begging to be spared but willing to be left behind if only the woman could live. And the cowboy, this hardened man who once believed love was nothing but a lie people told themselves to make death softer, felt tears burn behind his eyes for the first time in years, though none fell. He didn't speak because words had no place here, not in the holy silence between sacrifice and redemption. So instead he swung his leg over and dismounted slowly, boots sinking into the snow with a soft crunch like earth itself was holding its breath. And as he walked past the child, he paused only long enough to rest one gloved hand gently on her head, a touch that said more than any promise, and then he knelt beside the unconscious woman, lifting her frail body carefully into his arms, her skin ice cold but still holding a flicker of life beneath it. The little girl watched without moving, unsure if he would truly leave her as she had asked, ready to accept it, ready to freeze without complaint. But when he turned back toward his horse, he did not set the woman down in the saddle and ride away. He simply looked at the girl with a gaze so unshaken, so absolute, that she knew before he even spoke what he had decided. Still he said nothing as he bent down and scooped her up too, her light body curling instinctively against his chest like a frightened sparrow finding shelter at last. And though his arms trembled under the weight of two lives, he bore it like a man finally forgiven. He set them both gently on the horse's back, throwing his worn coat over their shoulders, shielding them from the storm. And as he climbed behind them, wrapping one steady arm around both their frail forms, the girl pressed her face against his chest and for the first time in years, allowed herself to cry, not out of fear, but out of relief so deep it hurt. The cowboy didn't speak a single word, didn't ask who they were or where they came from or what evil had brought them to this lonely road, because none of that mattered anymore, not tonight. He clicked his tongue softly and the horse began to move, slow but steady, carrying them away from death and toward whatever future waited beyond the ridge. And though the night was still cruel and the storm still wild, somewhere in that long stretch of darkness a spark of warmth began to burn again, not in the sky, but in three broken hearts learning to beat in the same rhythm. And if you, dear listener, felt that flicker too, if you believe kindness still rides beneath a weathered hat and silent resolve, then don't just watch. Join us, ride with us, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss the moment when sorrow turns to salvation, because this is only the beginning. And Chapter 2 will show you just how far one quiet cowboy will go to protect the family he never expected but finally found.